Hey, this is Tyler from Subspace Transmissions.
And I'm Cam.
Cam, I think we all know that one Patrick Stewart is returning for a Picard spinoff for Star Trek.
What?
Have you only just heard it now?
Oh my god.
Okay, it's kind of weird because you and I were both literally sitting next to each other in Las Vegas when Patrick Stewart walked out on stage.
I thought he was announcing Blunt Talk Season 3.
Okay, yeah, Blunt Talk Revival. Yeah. But what got us to thinking about is like whether any Star Trek captains could actually support a spinoff. We actually already had one, William Shatner come out and say that he's just not going to do it. Like, it's not in the cards for him.
Do you think it's because they didn't offer it to him?
Very, very much so. But let's think about it hypothetically. Would a Captain Kirk spinoff work at this point? He is dead, mind you.
He is dead, so that's a problem.
But he did bring himself back to life with Borg nanoprobes and Romulan technology.
I thought it was really weird when he was wearing the 7 of 9 catsuit.
I didn't think it was weird at all. It's like natural progression. Yeah.
The thing about Kirk is, if you're going to do it, I think you have to do it. I don't want to go through those convoluted means to do a spin-off. Just let it go. But if it's like a Kelvin verse with like an older James T. Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe but I don't know if it's necessary. Like, I feel like Kirk's story was told.
Yeah.
And we had all those movies to do it, especially. Like, a lot of the other captains didn't have, 7 movies to wrap up their story, whereas I feel like Kirk got his spin-off in a way.
You don't want to have Kirk search his own mortality once again. Where would there be to go with Kirk at this point? I don't know if there's anything left to explore.
He's like, I feel like I'm getting older again.
How many pairs of glasses is he wearing?
He's got like the ones that magnify his eyes.
Yes, yeah. Like the jewelers wear. He works in the Diamond District of New York City.
They're like goggles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe Kirk isn't totally in the cards.
Nah.
We know that one Picard is totally. The other thing that I'm really wondering about is the return of Sisko.
Yes.
So I 100% don't think that Avery Brooks would ever come back and play Sisko. But hypothetically, if he would, do you think there's a Sisko story left to tell? Or do you think it's a little tied up a little bit too perfectly based on the finale?
Yeah. Oh boy, that's a tough one because yes, I think everyone wants to know what happened with Sisko.
Yeah.
I think they want to hear what happens when he comes back and says what his experience was with the prophets. And I think the problem is, boy, the world of Deep Space Nine fractured so much by the end of that series that picking up all those years later, I wonder if it'd be super confusing to be like, what happened in the other 25 years or whatever, 20 years since, Cardassia was basically pretty much annihilated in a lot of ways.
Does it feel as if there's too many stories to come back and revisit?
And the characters are all gone for the most part. They're like dragging O'Brien out of the out of Starfleet Academy.
Yeah. I mean, I would suppose that Morn is still at Quark's bar.
The Sisko and Morn spinoff?
Yeah, but beyond that, I think it would be...
Well, Quark would be there.
Yeah,
yeah.
I honestly believe like if there's anybody still left on the station, it's got to be Quark, right?
Yeah,
and that just makes most sense for his character.
I mean, it would be interesting to see Jake and him reunited.
I would love to see that scene, but for like a 10-episode spinoff, I just feel as if we wouldn't be able to do the universe justice as it was introduced by the end of Deep Space Nine.
Do you think there is a story to tell with Sisko, or do you think you'd be bringing it back purely as like an epilogue?
It would feel like an epilogue.
Yeah.
And I think it would ultimately be unsatisfying. And this is coming from, the Deep Space Nine fan here. I absolutely love the series, but I think it actually tied things up quite well while leaving it open to our imaginations. And I don't think there's anything wrong with our imaginations.
Well, I feel like they explored all the avenues of Sisko so thoroughly on the show. And giving him episodes like In the Pale Moonlight, these great showcases. I don't know that there's that much more in terms of questions about Sisko.
Well, what if they just switched genres of the series and turned it into like a
comedy?
Well, a Gordon Ramsay-esque cooking competition reality series. Would you watch that?
Him versus him and his dad?
Yes.
No, and Jake. 3 generations facing off in the kitchen. And, I'm down.
Okay, I'm down for that. What about Janeway, though? This is the one honestly, I think that there's way more story left to tell with one Admiral Janeway. And I think...
We've never seen Janeway, in the Alpha Quadrant.
Well, we did in Star Trek Nemesis.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe a little bit of Caretaker.
Or
maybe?
Endgame.
And Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Tiny little bit.
Yeah, so would they call it Catherine and the Alpha? Would that be a great spin-off name?
I don't know that that's the best name.
Okay, but I think that this is actually probably where there's a lot of story left to tell here.
Yeah.
But the thing is, are you totally interested in what an admiral is up to? I picture an admiral just doing a lot of paperwork, and then occasionally dropping in on a captain and being a real stick in the mud. And so I think they have to find a real compelling story for that character.
It's tough. I mean, unless you did some sort of fleet-based spin-off where she's on the fleet for some reason, or because no one really wants to see the spin-off where she's the admiral on a ship basically just like talking down a captain the whole time. Because then it's like the Decker character, and it's like, do you really want to watch this person who's dreamed of being a captain their whole life just become like questioned over and over and over again, and just being like, fine, you take over the ship?
Would they need to pull a Star Trek 4 and give her a demotion?
I feel like I don't want to see that. Like, I want Janeway to go where she wants to go.
Yeah.
I feel like after the Delta Quadrant adventure, she's probably like, you know what? I did the captain thing. It's time to move on. But I do wonder if they do find a way to bring her back. Kate Mulgrew has a lot of visibility now with Orange is the New Black. She's still out there. She's very prominent, as you know. And so I would wonder if they would want to work her into maybe the Picard spinoff in a scene or two, or something, just to keep the character out there and existing, because I think Kate Mulgrew has a lot of relevance.
Well, let's be honest. If they were ever going to do a spinoff of any Voyager character, I think it would be 7 of 9. And I think that there would be room for, Janeway to make an appearance or two. And I think that would actually be the detriment to the spinoff, this hypothetical spinoff, if we didn't have Janeway featured prominently in a 7 of 9 spinoff.
And Janeway's story is kind of, it's similar in a way to Sisko's, where it's like you feel like the series did tell what that character's story was.
Yeah.
So it wasn't open-ended like, Picard, where it's like, it's more of an episodic series without a kind of beginning and end point in terms of what the journey of the ship is. So I think there's more room with a Picard versus like a Janeway.
Okay, so then let's go to Enterprise. Would you want to watch a Star Trek West Wing, Archer is the president of the Federation, the very early iteration
signing
of the
bills.
Federation. Yeah. I don't know. I think there could be fun with this guy trying to, spin all these plates as, the Andorians, the
He
Vulcans.
joins the circus.
Yeah. He's the lion tamer. He's like, screw this presidency. I need to go explore the Orion, system and join up with those folks. Yeah.
Archer's an interesting character in that, like Scott Bakula. If you ask me, do I want to see a Star Trek show with Scott Bakula again? I think he was great. I think he brought a lot of charisma to the show. I think he's a great actor. So I'm totally down.
You just want another decon gel scene, Cam. Let's be honest.
Obviously. Yeah. But I mean, the thing about Archer is, again, I feel like his story was kind of told, and I don't know that of this whole group, CBS is looking at Archer as like, yeah, that's a spinoff that's going to bring in the numbers.
Bakula was on the NCIS spinoff, so
that's true, which got canceled.
Yeah, but CBS does like the Bakula.
They do like him. I mean, I could see them finding ways to give him some cameos or work him in, maybe to Star Trek Discovery or something like that.
You don't think there's a President of the Federation spin-off, just around the corner?
Only if it's starring Kurtwood Smith.
Honestly, from Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just decide, who would we want to give the spin-off to right now?
Janeway.
Yeah. I'm down for it.
For Janeway. And what about Captain Nog?
You know what? I'll have to think about it.